Let's face it, highly successful people do things differently than others. And one of the things they do better than most is ask amazing questions. And today you're going to learn 9 of the best questions I have heard them ask over the last 35 years of advising them and 40 years of researching them. So let's dive in. Hi, my name is Annette, your host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. I'm a certified financial planner and founder of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I have been advising and researching the top 1% of millionaires, and I am passionately obsessed with money, mindset, and the intersection of self-worth and net worth, and how the two connect and allow us to live fulfilled and wealthy lives on our terms. I'm a Midwestern girl who had a dream, began investing $25 a month 35 years ago, and today have a multi-million-dollar net worth. I teach the tried and true that only someone with over 3 decades of experience advising millionaires would know. This podcast is different, about much more than money. We talk about mindset, success, money blocks, worth barometer, and all aspects of money and topics from practical manifestation, along with real-world how-to and everything in between, with the goal of making your journey easier and more fun. Think of this as coffee, actually matcha tea, learning real-world common sense money and life advice from a BFF that you can start applying today. If you want to create a financially free life you love, you are in the right place, my friend. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast. So I want to welcome you to 9 questions highly successful people ask. So today's special resource is our Millionaire Habits Guide. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/MHG. Fulfilled millionaires who retain their wealth do things differently. And in this guide, you will learn how they elevate their worth barometer and how they achieve success in more areas than just wealth, in health as well as fulfillment, how they stay focused on what they want, and how they set goals to achieve them, as well as how to operate at their best, regardless of how they feel in the moment. Again, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/MHG. If you want to learn the habits of the truly most successful people in the world who are filled with so much more in their lives than just money and have really mastered what it means to live a fulfilled life, I encourage you to access this free resource at themillionaireinsider.com/MHG. For today's resources, go to themillionaireinsider.com/21. All materials and intellectual property are copywritten by themillionaireseries.com. The information we provide is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide any investment, financial, tax, retirement, or any planning or healthcare advice. All participants agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. In this episode, you're going to learn 9 of the best questions highly successful people ask. So let's dive in. So before we dive into the questions, I want to provide just a little bit of background. I had the pleasure of speaking on the same stage as Stephen R. Covey. He's the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I was fascinated to hear him share that he was going to title the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, but was more focused and interested on people focusing in on being highly effective than habits of successful people. And I thought that was really insightful. Now, I would agree that highly effective people can have more fulfilling lives and are generally focused on more than just success and money. So a couple important daily habits and traits of highly effective people that he shared in his book was making time management a priority, seek to understand and then be understood, begin with the end in mind, and create an environment that fosters trust. All of those are really powerful and so important. And I think so many times when we hear success, we envision money, right? It's kind of like if you're successful, you've got money. And I think that's part of the equation. But I was watching this talk show and they were going on and on about this successful person we were going to meet. And clearly, from a standpoint of money, super successful, but from health and weight, not so much. I just remember he walked out and I was like, oh my gosh, he's got to be like 300 pounds overweight. And he was so large, they had to take a commercial break and bring in a chair that didn't have arms because he couldn't fit into the chair. So he clearly had spent over 30 years building a successful business, but had failed to make his health a priority. I have seen so many scenarios where wealth without health is the end result, and it is never ideal. When you're living day to day because your health is so bad, you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow, it is not fun. As one millionaire shared with me, if I would have realized the outcome, I could have made time for 30 minutes of exercise each day. Oh, gosh, so painful to hear, but so true. You have to decide what long term goals are important to you and then create a plan to make them a reality. There is no free lunch, my friends. So please make that a priority. Fulfilled and wealthy people do things differently. They develop a skill set to achieve their goal. They prioritize on what's important. And for most of them, it's fulfillment, health, and wealth. They get enough sleep. They focus on getting 7 to 8.5 hours of sleep each night. And the good news, actually great news, is that you can make decisions to live a fulfilled and wealthy life and take the action that's going to guide you to make it a reality. Anyone can do it. You just got to do it. On a final note, before we dive into the questions, I heard this piece of advice from Richard Branson, who's a billionaire, and I thought it was so appropriate for people who are effective and successful. And he said, listen deeply and always act with empathy. And I think that's such a great insight. It's not a question, but it's something we can all apply. So powerful. All right. So, number one, the first question that I see that is so powerful is why? Why am I here? What am I supposed to achieve in my lifetime? Why do I matter? Mark Twain summed it up really well. The two most important days of our lives are the day we're born and the day we figure out why. You got to know your why. Your why is your passion and your purpose. If you're not clear on your why, I encourage you to do this handwriting exercise from my book, The 7 Principles of Becoming a Millionaire for Life, at the end of chapter 1, called Releasing Mental Blocks and Core Beliefs. But you can use that exercise for a lot of things. And part of that exercise is writing out the question with your dominant hand. For most people, that's their right hand. Why am I here? Why do I matter? And then with your non-dominant hand, answer the question. And you want to answer it until the answer appears or you have another question. So powerful. All right. The second one is, what do I really want? Not kind of want, but really want. We want to achieve a goal because how we believe we're going to feel when we achieve it. And when you're really clear on what you want, it's so much easier to do the work to get there. When we're not clear on what we want, pebbles can come in our way and deter us. But when we know what we want, a boulder could come in our path and it doesn't derail us. So important. And when we don't feel like doing what we need to do in the moment, if we're clear on what we want and the ultimate feeling we're aiming for, it's a lot easier to do the work. So what does a fulfilled life look like to you? A lot of people say, well, I want to be happy. The thing you have to realize about the problem with happy or really any emotion is that sometimes you're going to be happy and sometimes you're not. When you create a fulfilled life, it's not governed by your emotions, but more of a calling, a purpose, a direction that is so much larger than you and how you're feeling at that moment. So I really encourage you to identify what a fulfilled life looks like. It's amazing what happens with your life and the choices you make when you get clear on that. What emotion will my goal bring me? You want to figure that out. And then each day you then want to work at creating that now. So for example, is peace of mind a top priority? When do you feel peace of mind? When you're meditating, when you're praying, when you're in yoga? What about security? When you have a certain amount of money in the bank? How will you know? I really encourage you to get clear on what it is you want to feel when you achieve your goal. And what will that experience look like? Because by getting clear on it, it makes it so much easier to show up consistently and do what you need to do to achieve it. Will this thought bring me closer to my goal? If the answer is yes, keep thinking it. If the answer is no, you got to change it until you get to a yes. And then what you've got to do is with that thought, you got to take the action because that's what's going to produce the results. When you're thinking the wrong thoughts, it causes you to do things or not do things that you need to do to achieve your desired result. Will this action propel me closer to a fulfilled life? Just always ask that. And if you get a yes, a really strong yes, then keep doing it. But if you get a no, figure out what action will. That is such an easy question to ask and is so important. That's why fulfilled millionaires are so successful is they get clear on that. When am I at my best? So you got to identify how much sleep do you get? How much water do you drink? What is your diet? How are your relationships? How many hours do you work? Do you consistently execute? You got to get really clear on all that. Now, ideally, you're getting adequate sleep, 7 to 8.5 hours a night. Now, remember, you're up for 30 minutes to 90 minutes every night. So you got to factor that in. Drinking enough water, 50% of your body weight in ounces is ideal. Eating healthy fat, lean protein, and organic vegetables. And if sugar doesn't bother you and you can eat complex carbohydrates, you want to also include that in your diet. I do very low carbs and I do no sugar just because I have blood sugar issues. So just be aware of that. Do you have a good work-life balance? Do you need to better execute? What do you need to do? And when are you at your best? How can I leverage this task and save time? What do I need to do to get it done in the least time possible? Not aiming for an A plus. See, I'm kind of like this perfectionist. And one of the things I've started doing is a B plus is fine. And really even a B minus. I was the kind of person in college that they didn't at that time have what they have now with my kids, where they have A plus, A minus. If you got an A minus, it was the same thing as an A plus. So I'm like, why would you ever want to study? If you're going to get an A, let it be an A minus. But the reality of it is B work is just fine. That is above average and it's fine. The problem with some of us that are perfectionists just want to have it perfect. It's just an unrealistic expectation. Perfection is not the goal. What resources can you leverage to achieve your goal and what can you delegate? And then one of my favorite ones is what if? What if I created a plan? What if I consistently took action on my plan? What if I did this specific task? What if I consider this? What if there is a solution I haven't thought of? Some of the what ifs I've heard from fulfilled millionaires are fascinating. So use that handwriting exercise I shared with you earlier and just go for it and see what comes up. You're going to be so glad you did. So there you have it. So let's recap on questions highly successful people ask. Number 1, why are you here? Number 2, what do I really want? What does a fulfilled life look like to me? What emotion will my goal bring me? Will this thought I'm thinking bring me closer to my goal? Will this action propel me closer to a fulfilled life? When am I at my best? How can I leverage this task and save time? What if? And then fill in the blank. If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so that you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for Next Step Finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. Until our next episode, take one action that will help you create a financially free life you love. I'm Annette, your host. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.